everyone. Welcome to our third lesson of Unit 1, that is graphic design. So in this lesson, we're going to basically continue from where we ended from and tackle topograph basis. Topograph basis. Now, topography is the art and technique of arranging type to make written language legible. So we're talking about legibility, readable, and visually appealing. So you are trying to make something that will look, presentable and something that will look nice at the end of the day. So topography here we are talking about these are techniques, okay, of writing something for it to look attractive and appealing as well as readable. Okay, remember, you as a graphic designer, you are communicating with people through writing. Okay, you're communicating with people through writing, and as you're communicating with people through writing, it's crucial, to communicate, through the guided principles of graphic design, and these principles, they're going to help you be successful in your communication. Remember, it's not everyone that communicates the same. Okay, it's not everyone that communicates the same. So you, of all the people, should be able to understand that you have power in your mind to control the perception of people through your design, because it's going to attract many people. Now, this is done through one topography definition, which we're going to discuss as is the design and arrangement of typefaces, fonts, and character to convey a message effectively. So topography basically is a semantic area that deals with how certain things appear, or how written texts or a message appears. Now, there are different type of flyers that you will see out there. If you just Google flyers, there are so many flyers that you see, and most of these flyers, they look differently depending on how the mind of a designer was set during that particular time. But some of them you can actually be able to vividly see that the person who was designing, they really didn't even pay attention whatsoever to what they wanted to communicate. So here we're looking at fonts. You need to pay attention to fonts, characters, or in order for you to convey a message. Now, so let's look at type of fonts. Okay, so typeface versus fonts. So what is a typeface? So a typeface is basically a family of fonts with similar design characteristics. So they are a number of fonts that have the similar characteristics, and these are what we call typeface. All right. So a family of fonts, typeface is a family of fonts with similar design, okay, characteristics. So font basically, it is a specific style, weight, and size of a typeface. You see the difference. So a font is a specific style, weight, and size of a typeface. Now, there are certain fonts that are made, or that are made specifically for titles. If you want to title something, you use this type of font. There are certain fonts that are made for only love messages. Okay, love messages. There are certain type of fonts that show command. Okay, there are certain type of fonts that show command. There are certain type of fonts that show formality. Something that is formal. There are some of the fonts that show jokes, right? If you are writing a joke, you're going to put it in a certain way so that people are able to see. If you are writing a memorial message, you are going to write it in a certain way. So you as a graphic designer must understand what best way to communicate to somebody effectively. Okay, you can't be communicating with somebody who is a foreigner. For example, in Zambia, someone is coming from the UK, and you'll be like Mulibwanji, Mulishani, Mulibuti. They will not understand. And besides, even if you share a happy message, they will not see it because they don't understand your language. So therefore, you as a graphic designer, you need to use fonts and typeface in order for you to reach out to the people. Okay, so let's look at the anatomy of topography. Now, as you are looking at this anatomy, I want you to, as we go down, I want you to get your laptop and open a Microsoft Word because we're going to do an activity. So go to Microsoft Word, open a Word document, then we'll be learning as a practical on how certain things work. I'll be showing you some practical aspect about fonts, the importance of fonts in delivering a message. So anatomy of topography. Now, under anatomy, we're going to look at what we call a baseline. A baseline. So a baseline is the imaginary line which which characters sit. All right. So the imaginary line on which characters sit. So let's go to our I already designed something. So write anything on your Microsoft Word, write anything. So when you write anything, highlight it, get your mouse, put your cursor at the beginning of the letters of the words, then drag your mouse all the way to the end. Once you do that, you come here on top there, you come here under, that. So you discover that the word has been underlined. You discover that the word has been underlined. This is what we call a baseline. So this is an imaginary line on which characters sit. Okay. Then let's look at the x height. The x height. The x height. So the height is the height of lowercase letters. Okay, excluding ascenders and descenders. So it's a height of lowercase letters. So let's try to look at what this is all about. So come down. Okay, write something. So you go to caps lock, you turn it on so that you can do small letters and big letters. So let's look at it. Maybe let's say Charles Life. Okay. Now let's say university. All right, Charles Life University. Okay. So if you look at this, when you look at these two letters, let me color them. Let me color them. So these two letters, let me put them in a color. Okay. I put them in a color. Let's hope you are seeing what is happening on the screen. So when you put these two letters in there, when you put these two letters in the, when you write them like that, one thing you realize is that the height, okay, the height of these capital letters and the small letters is what? Is not the same, it's different. So that's what we call x height, the height of lowercase letters. Okay, so the height of lowercase, the height of lowercase letters is called x height. So our x height is this much, so our case height is smaller than the height of upper cases. Now maybe something just to show you. If you've seen what I've done already, this type of design that I've done, very simple, but it attracts a certain type of attention. Why? Because of the colors. Okay, because of the colors that it does what? That is the words are designed into. Okay, so then we have what we call the ascenders. Okay, the ascender. So the ascender is the part of the letter that extends above the x height. So the ascender now, the ascender is these ones that are in red. So let's go back to our word. So these ones are what we call ascenders, okay? Because they are long, they are they are higher. So they are called what we call ascenders, okay? Because they bring in emphasis because they are capital letters. So they are called the ascenders. What about descenders? So it's a part of the letter that extends below the baseline. Now, the baseline is an imaginary line where the document sits. So for example, if we say this one, let's put a baseline. So a baseline basically has been done. Now, if you've seen, if you can notice, you actually discover that when we underline both words, okay, when we underline both words, there is a letter that is protruding. Let's color it also. Let's give it a different color. There's a letter that is protruding. So this letter is actually going below the baseline. This is what we call an ascender because it is ascending, okay? Sorry, descending, all right, because it is descending. So the part of the letter that extends below the baseline. So the letter Y goes below, if you've observed, the letter Y goes below the letter Y goes below the, the line. So it is called a descender, okay? So descender, it means going down. So this is what we are talking about. So now let's look at another part, which is the type classification. Type classification. Now under fonts, they are what we call serif. Serif. S-E-R-I-F. Serif. Depending on the school you were at, you can you can pronounce this differently. Okay. Now, what are serifs? So, serifs have small lines, okay, at the end of a stroke, okay. So, serifs have small lines at the end of a stroke. Example: Time New Roman, okay, Times New Roman. So, this Time New Roman is a it's a type of a font, okay. It's a type of a font that you use, okay. So normally they have a small line, okay. They have a small line at the end of a stroke. Now this Times New Roman, it is a type of a font, and let's look at how it looks. Now I already did some illustrations. So you go to your Word document, you type something like graphic design, okay. You type something like graphic design, then you go here, okay, on the font, you go up there and just type it Times, okay, Times New Roman, then it will come, then you press enter, okay. So you've seen this is how it looks, okay. The graphic design class, you've seen how it looks. So it has got a line, if you've seen on top. Look at how for example I is let's look at how I is is illustrated, okay. Let's look at how I is written. So if you've seen I has got, it looks as if it has got lines on top, okay. The straight line comes properly, then it is shaping like there's a cape on top, both up and down. Equally, all the letters, actually, all the letters, they seem to have capes, okay? All the letters, they seem to have capes on their bases. So that's what we are saying. This is have a small line, which is a serif at the end of a stroke. So serif is a small line at the end of a stroke. So what we are talking about is that there's a line, then it comes with something that looks like a cape. That's what we call a serif. Okay. So Times New Roman is an example of a font that has got serifs. Okay. So this can also it is used to to bring about beauty. Okay. The letters have got a certain type of beauty that they exhibit. Then let's go to what we call sans serif. Okay, sans serif. Okay, now sans serif, they do not have serifs. All right, sans serifs, they do not have serifs. So an example of this is what we call Arial. Okay, Arial, they don't have serifs. If you can see, you go there as we did, then you look for a word, you just type in serif. Okay, so this serif, you are going to actually discover that these ones, they are straight. If it's I straight without any serifs. So serifs, remember, they are those capes that we put on top. Okay, then apart from that, we have something else, which is there's what we call sans serif. do not have serifs. Example, Arial is an example of a font that has got serifs. Then script, okay, script. So a script, this is mimic, cursive handwriting, okay, mimic cursive handwriting. For example, brush script. So let's go to brush script. So it's what we call a mimic cursive handwriting, a handwriting that shows some fantasy of some sort. It shows a certain type of character, and this is you go to this thing, you go to the font, then you type in brush script, you press enter, and it will show. Look at how it looks, okay? It seems as if something that is jovial, something that is of a mood, of a nice mood. So anything that is of a funny mood, something interesting, you would probably be able to put it in this type of a font. You would design something with this type of a font. Okay, then let's go to the other one, which is display. Okay, display. So display is also a type of a font that is designed for larger size and headlines. For example, impact. So impact is a type of a font that is used for headlines, titles. So this is impact. Okay, this is impact. So impact, as you can see, look at how beautiful the graphic design looks. So let's also write Just Life University, for example. Look at how nice the words look. They really, really look nice. And when you look at this, you actually discover that mostly this impact is used as a headline font. Why? Because it's so visible. Even if you create a banner outside, everyone who is passing by the road, they'll be able to see that this is the banner that talks about this. Okay, so that is this is what we call a display. Okay, so display. So make sure you understand what serif is, sans serif, script, and a display. So these are type of fonts. Now, most of the fonts can actually be put in this category. It's either it is a script font, sans serif font, serif font, and display. Now, sans serif or serif is used for formality. So this New Time Roman, normally you find that all the fonts that are serif, they are normally used for, formal news, letter, application letter, word, message, and others. They are used for formality, okay, and especially in the corporate world. You want to write a document, you are designing a document that, for example, maybe a company document, you probably use this type of a font. Then sans serif, this one, it doesn't have, it doesn't have serif. Normally, it is used for a type of writing that doesn't really aspire for any type of mood. Okay, it is just type of a font where, oh, okay, someone wrote graphic design. Okay, yeah, graphic design. Okay, graphic design, yeah. But for fonts with serif, you'll be like, oh yeah, graphic design, yeah. It's smart graphic design, But for mimic handwriting, here you're looking, oh, graphic design, something like that. Why? Because somebody immediately design something, depending on the font you write it, somebody has already put in a way in which a message will come. Okay. Then there's also what we call a display. So display normally is for titles, mainly. It's for titles and something that attracts for emphasis. Okay. So that's why you actually observe. I'll give you an exercise, and this exercise is easy. Take your time to go through each and every font in that document. Okay, so you go to this document, you go to that, then you pick any font of your choice and check if it is under it is as categorized as serif or sans serif, or I don't know in which category you may categorize it. Okay, so as you do that, you actually discover that some of them actually cannot be even written, some of the fonts cannot be written in lowercase, meaning you can't write them in small letters. Why? Because they are made mainly for headings. Okay. All right, so let's look at one type, font and weight, font styles and weight. So let's look at the styles. Now, when we talk about fonts, Fonts, they come with the styles. So the first one, we have what we call regular, which is Roman. So here, this is a standard weight of a font. A regular is a standard weight of a font, and normally you find this in all the designing font. For example, this, okay? For example, this type of a font, the first one, this type of a font, the way it is a regular, okay? It is a regular font, okay? Why? Because it is just a standard font, okay? It's like a default font, a default type or style, but you can actually put a style to that font, and that style is what we call bold. Bold makes it thicker, okay, makes thicker and darker version of the regular font. So let's try to make this and make it so you go up there and make it. Have you seen what has happened? Those fonts out of random, the same font type has become thick and dark, okay? Look at the difference, right? I'm sure you'll be able to see the difference. So this is what we call a bold, okay, boldness, okay? So it is thicker and darker. Then let's go now to what we call italic, okay? Let's go to what we call italic. So the way it is, we go up there and go to italic. So italic, you actually discover that now they are a bit slanty, okay? So italic, it is a slanted version of the regular font. So the regular font has become slanty, okay? The regular font has become what? Slanty. Now, when the regular font has become slanty, it is called the, italic font. Now, there are different situations that you can use this regular, bold, and italic. As you can see, my document, my document, the one that you are viewing, has got these, it has got these type of, it has got mostly bold, okay, and standard. So this is standard, this is standard, and this is what? Bold. And sometimes italic is used mostly to attract attention when you're writing a document. Okay. Now, there's what we call hierarchy. All right, hierarchy. Now, this hierarchy is basically, it is used in different font sizes. Okay, it uses different font sizes, which is weight and style to create visual hierarchy. So you want to show which one is the title, which one is the words that are in the paragraph. So basically, you are using that to show hierarchy, how the text flow for which one is a font, which one is the main font, which one is the following font. Okay, so as you can see, this one is a title, it is actually in bold, right? But you can see that underneath there, or let me just say the same hierarchy. Okay, underneath this one can easily be able to see that this one is a main title, then these are followers, okay, explaining about the title. So that's what we call hierarchy. Okay, hierarchy basically shows the flow, okay, of which one is the mother, which one are the children, which one are nieces, which one are what or whatnot. Okay, so heading should be more prominent than the body text. So when you're writing something, the heading of something, it should be more prominent than the what? It should be more prominent than the heading should be more prominent than the body text. So it is important. So let's now go to what we call the alignment. The alignment. Now, alignment is one important factor also in designing. So there's what we call left aligned, okay? So left aligned, you will see it probably when we go to the practical. So left aligned, it is actually common for most texts. Left aligned is actually very common. Then there's what we call center aligned, often used for short text or titles. Center aligned normally is used for, short titles or text. Then there's what we call right aligned. This is less common but can also be effective in certain designs. Then there's what we call justified. So text aligned on both left and the right, they are called the justified. So let's look at this. Let's try to write, I've written something, for example, some message. Okay, this is some message, right? This message is in form of paragraphs. Okay, so let's go to let's start with the left aligned. So this one is left aligned. For you to know that this is left aligned, you go up there under, under alignment, okay? Under alignment, you do here, it goes to center. You do here, it goes to left aligned, okay? When you come here, it is called the, this is called the right aligned. So right aligned, you've seen that this word starts from right to left, and left aligned starts from left to right. Okay, so this type of left aligned is actually very common. It's the one that it is like a default alignment. Okay, then there's what we call a center. So this center is normally used for titles. All right, use a title, you center it, put it on the middle, then the software the software will automatically center it. Then the last one is called the justified. So justified, it creates a balance. Okay, justified, it creates a balance where there is no it creates a balance. So for example, let's make this as maybe this as so when you do balance, I want you to check out the difference. So when you do this, you've seen what has happened. So all of them have aligned towards the left. Then when you do right, all of them have aligned towards the right. When you do center, all of them align towards the center. Then when you do justified, they create a balance. So basically, that's what we call alignment. That's what we call alignment. So you'll be able to use these in softwares, because softwares, they have this component, they have this aspect, and you'll be able to use it anywhere, because every software, for example, for as long as it's a design software, you'll be able to learn how to use it and do wonders with this. Okay, so let's go on to let's go back to our font. Okay, so we've looked at alignment. Let's look at line, length, and spacing. There's what we call line, length, and the spacing. So line length and spacing, basically here we're talking about optimal line length is around 5 to 7 characters per line. So of course this line talks about adequate line spacing leading from readability. Now for example, if we go to word spacing, here I want you to observe something. So I'll highlight this, then I'll go to up there what is called line and paragraph spacing. So here it is actually it tells you the amount of space that is in between the characters or in between the letters. So for example, if we say this one is actually at the lowest, when we increase it, observe what is happening. The line is increasing, the difference is increasing. So when you move to another one, let's go to 3, the last one. Have you seen what has happened? The space in between the letters and line, in between here, in between this paragraph and this paragraph, there is a what? There's a big difference in terms of line. Okay, it's like a book that has got lines. Now, the more you increase the line, the more it increases. Now, you use that for big people with big handwriting, or if you want to write big letters, because when you write big letters, as you write big letters, the space also does what? Increases. Okay, so it is also one important concept. So there is also one issue of contrast. Contrast creates creates between headline and body text for emphasis. So when you talk about contrast, you need to differentiate between the heading and the words itself. So you can also use colors. Okay, graphic design also uses colors. For example, we're designing something like this. Okay, have you seen this already? This actually brings out to show that this is actually a heading. Okay, this is actually a heading. Then of course there is also what we call so use contrast using colors, size, and weight. Okay, variation for contrast. Then also there's what we call readability. You need to be able to put in place all these aspects, and readability meaning clarity. So some of these things are just what we call principles that will make your work stand out. So you can go through, read them, and be ready to solve an assignment at the end of this lesson, and at the end of the unit, there will be, there is actually a quiz that you'll be able to do. So make sure you take your time, you study, go through videos again and again, so that you don't fail when you do that quiz, because that quiz you only do it once, it doesn't come twice. Okay, so all the best until we meet in unit 2. Goodbye.